BBC Radio Leeds. A question for the greyhound woman, says this text here. Why, if rehoming in the UK is so bad, are you fetching dogs from Spain to rehome? So the issue I can't help you with. Let's get a bit more on this from John Curran. John is promoter at the Kinsley Grounds Stadium in Pontefract, board member of the Greyhound Board of Great Britain. John, you'll have seen the story in the Sunday Times yesterday. More than 40,000 greyhounds have been injured on British racing tracks in the past decade, according to an analysis of figures from the sport's ruling body. So that's, I mean, you're a member of the Greyhound Board of Great Britain. Surely that's outrageous. 40,000 dogs injured.
Yeah, it would be absolutely outrageous if that data was correct. The data that I believe were extracted for the purpose of great exploitations was taken from race cards or racing managers' performance data on the assumption that when a greyhound stopped racing at the track, that effectively its racing career was over as a result of injury and then destroyed. And that is an assumption rather than based on data fact.
Right, so let's get this straight. Great Exploitations is a welfare campaign group who are trying to collate the results, and this is the information that you gave to them.
No, we have not given any information to...
They've looked at they've found the information.
They've extracted data themselves based on performance data from racing managers that is available on the GBGB's website.
Right.
And they built into that data assumptions to arrive at that figure of 40,000 and the fact that they're all injured and never return to racing, and therefore the assumption is if they don't return to racing then they're destroyed, and that is flawed data, and the assumption analysis from that data is completely right. Wild.
Well, can I quote you a text we've got here? Out of the thousands of greyhounds bred, only a few are good enough to race. The surplus are got rid of. So are the ones that are too old to race at 2 to 3 years old, and that's Lizzie who sent us that text. What's your answer to that?
Well, in terms of majority of breeding is done in Ireland. There is only a small percentage, sadly, that's bred in the UK. And all the good bloodstock for breeding is in Ireland, and the Irish have always done a fantastic job of both breeding greyhounds and breeding racehorses. So all the really good stud is out in Ireland. We import them from Southern Ireland to the UK tracks, and in terms of the vast majority do make UK tracks, and effectively very few in terms of greyhounds do not make the grade of racing in the UK. We register currently something like 7,800 greyhounds. Those greyhounds that's registered effectively then go on to race at UK tracks.
Yeah, I like your tone.
Yeah, you like me mobile.
I like your ringtone on your mobile there. The Dam Busters.
The Dam Busters.
Yeah. What? I mean, when a greyhound gets injured, though, and clearly you can dispute the figures, but there are some greyhounds that do get injured.
Oh yes. The industry does have its data and figures that's based on veterinary. All greyhounds, all UK greyhound tracks now under DEFRA regulation of 2010 have to have a veterinary surgeon in order for a race or trial meeting to take place.
Yeah. Presumably,
when it is injured, the natural thing is it goes into the veterinary surgeon's room at the track, and that injury is treated, whether it be a sticking plus injury or a more serious injury such as a fracture.
Right.
Those injuries are recorded by law in the veterinary diary that we have to keep for 10 years, and those veterinary diaries are subject to inspections by both local authority and by GBGB inspectors, and can be inspected by DEFRA. So we have to have a proper record based on veterinary entries rather than the track itself.
Yeah, just to clarify, GBGB is the Greyhound Board of Great Britain.
Board of Great Britain.
Yeah, I mean, so you're an official track, because I remember from dimly in the past, there's something called flapping tracks, which are.
Yes. Well, let me tell you, Kingsley was founded just pre-war in 1939, and that track itself was an independent track right to the millennium year of 2000.
Yeah.
In which it actually served local communities and vastly shift workers in steel mining in particular, and that's where they raced the greyhounds.
Right.
Since 2000, Kingsley went over to what we call under the rules of racing, which is now regulated by the GBGB, which is the Greyhound Board of Great Britain.
Right. Okay, well, thanks ever so much for talking to us. Do appreciate it, John. John Curran there.
Just a further clarification, in terms of the number of greyhounds registered, we're registering around about 7,800 a year, and we're now homing something like about 7,000 of those 7,800 greyhounds. So the homing is pretty good compared to the number of greyhounds that we're registering, and that is getting ever closer. Is the two figures, the scales are coming to balance, whereby not too far in the distant future we'll be able to offer every greyhound that is homeable a home.
Okay, John, thanks ever so much for joining us.
You're most welcome.
John Curran there, promoter at Kingsley Ground Stadium in Pontefract and a board member of the GBGB, as we now know how to call it, the Greyhound Racing Board of Great Britain. Well, your own views are welcome on this. 81333. Start your message with the word Leeds. You can tweet me at Martin Callan. We've got loads and loads of your tweets and texts to do, and we'll do them very shortly. It's now 7 minutes to 1 o'clock, and this is Sade.